Welcome back to the channel. This is Valone's RC Hobby. And guys, what have I got in store for you today? Well, this is a beginner's video or a guy who's looking to get back into the hobby and getting a new RC. It is a wave of information that's out there on the internet today when it comes to RC cars. You have your cheap China stuff, you have your expensive name brand stuff, and if you're looking to get into the hobby or get back into the hobby like I did about 2 years ago, I was overwhelmed with the amount of information that's out there. It's not like back in the day in the 80s or 90s when we used to get Car Action magazine in every month, and that was our juice of information. Once we finished that magazine, all right, the month goes by, we got next month to look forward to. Now it's every day, there's push notifications and whatnot, so you got a lot of information out there, and it can be overwhelming and very confusing. So you're looking to get into the hobby. What do you put your money at? A cheap China car or a big name brand car? And I'm going to break it down for you. So let me get behind the camera and let's roll it. So here's my little collection that I put out here for you guys. It's not a lot of cars. It's some of the top cars that I have right now. And basically wanted to break it down for you and to just kind of give you my personal experience, what happened to me when I got back into this hobby about 2 years ago. So I was into the hobby back in the 80s and the 90s, if you don't know. There's my vintage Blackfoot that I've had for about 30 years, and it's a shelf queen now. But that was what I was in my glory days with. I loved building this kit and going out there and romping around. But the downside to that is, you know, they broke a lot. So the cars today, even the cheap China stuff like you might see over here, they are built very, very well today compared to the vintage stuff that you see over there, like a Tamiya kit. And what you get for your money today, they're ready to run. They got ball bearings throughout, they got metal drive shafts, they come with LiPo batteries, they come with a controller, they come with a charger. I mean, many times just under $100. So, you know, some of these vehicles, they may not be name brand vehicles like you see here. This is a Taycan Soar. The popular car today is the WLTOYS 144001. This is the XLF model, which is very similar to this. And I mean, if you look at these cars, they got all metal chassis, metal A-arms, drive shafts. And, you know, they're pretty quick right out the box. I mean, something like a WLTOYS car would be about 30 miles an hour out the box. And you got everything with you. You know, so it's pretty remarkable these days, I got to say. But when I got back into the hobby about 2 years ago, you know, I had some experience with RC, but many years went by and I didn't know the technology. I didn't know anything really about brushless systems or LiPo batteries. So, but I didn't want to go something too cheap. I didn't want to dip into something China no-name brand right off the get-go. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of homework. But at the same time, I did see the ARRMA stuff out, and I couldn't believe the pricing of some of these cars, and I thought they were just a little too aggressive for me out the box. So I didn't want to go too small. I didn't want to go too China. So I did some homework and saw a lot of the RC channels that are out there. And I know there's thousands of channels out there, so you can get overwhelmed just with that. But I wound up dipping into a $300 car. I wanted to go a little bit bigger than 1/10 scale. I kind of like big, bulky stuff. I kind of like stuff that wants to beat you up. And I actually went with the Redcat Landslide and the DHK Maximus in the very beginning. I don't have the Maximus anymore. The Redcat Landslide right here is a wonderful truck. It's $300. You do have to get batteries for it. The Maximus was I think I paid $375 for it or something. And it was a pretty amazing beginner's truck. I know it's not a big name brand like an ARRMA or TRAXXAS or LOSI or Team Associated. But they did have some good reviews on them. So they are kind of China, but not cheap Banggood style China stuff. So this was a great entry level for me. For you, it might be a different story. Maybe you don't like monster trucks. Maybe you don't want something so, you know, aggressive, maybe like a Landslide here, or an ARRMA, and you want to go with the cheap China stuff here, which is absolutely fine. I think they're great to dip into in the beginning. If you're kind of unsure of yourself and you don't know if you're going to continue with the hobby, you just want something to knock around in, something to throw on the shelf, and it's not going to break the bank. So if you did break it, it's not going to hurt you too much. You know, the WLTOYS cars like this, and I mean, they're hover around $100. And, you know, you can upgrade them. They are hobby grade, and you can tinker with them. I mean, I think out the box, they could use some tuning, and I have a tuning video out there that you could check out. But, you know, it's tough to say, you know. Like I said, if you're looking for something that's like expendable, you don't mind if it breaks, you toss it on the shelf or something, maybe you get another car down the line. totally fine to go with something like this. Me, on the other hand, I kind of had that in the back of my mind. I like, all right, I might get a car. I might not stick with it, but there is a possibility I'm going to stay with the hobby just because I remember how it was when I was a kid. So again, it's all your preference, really. It all comes down to what your likes and dislikes are and what you're looking to do with it. I will tell you, though, when you dip into stuff, RC happens to be an addiction, if you don't know. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there that have collections of cars, and it seems to suck you in. And you wind up buying one, and then you buy another. You know, I remember telling my wife when I got my first car, I said to her, this is it. I'm not going to get anything else. Don't worry about it. And then sure enough, a month later, I wound up picking up the Landslide. And then a month after that, I picked up another one, and it just kept going and going. So I was getting hooked because it's a thrill. It's a rush to actually go out there, escape from reality a little bit, and feel like a kid. So that's the one thing I really like about the hobby, and it's wonderful, especially in days like today. We're still in the COVID pandemic at the time of this video in many places, so you want to get outside and play and tinker, and it's a wonderful thing. If you got a kid that's looking to get into the hobby, you know, maybe he's a youngster, maybe under 10 years old, 12 years old, something like that, you know, these China cars are great. I mean, this SG 1604, I mean, 80, 90 bucks. It's a little drift car. You can actually run this in your house if you have enough room. So it's not going to break nothing. It's really not that big. It's not that powerful. And that's actually a pretty durable car. I will say, even over the years, China stuff is getting better. There's a lot of appeal to them. And they do have some, you know, more expensive cars. You know, and they are stepping up their game. So, you know, it's pretty remarkable, you know, what you can get for the money these days. I mean, again, for under $100, you get these cars, 30 miles an hour. My Tamiya truck kit here, the Blackfoot, at the time, which I'm talking in the 1980s, 86, 87, I think when I got this truck, I don't know, it was over $100, maybe $110, $120. You had to build it. Nowhere near as durable or as fast as these cars today. So I think we take a lot for granted. I mean, it's just amazing engineering that's happened within the last 25, 30 years. So especially with these LiPo batteries now and brushless systems. So if you are a guy like me that wants to get back into the hobby and you remember having these vintage cars, but maybe you don't have the time to build a kit, but you want something that could have the feel of those cars. You know, there are vehicles on, you know, in shops today or online that you can buy that have the feel of the old Tamiya stuff, but you don't have to buy a Tamiya, because even into today's pricing, they are still kind of pricey, especially getting the re-release of this, and the parts still are kind of the same. They break and they're expensive. So why not get something that's a little more up to date, but has the same feel as, say, a Tamiya kit? And I got this Sen Fiat Abarth, which is a comical car, guys. Such a cartoony kind of car. I had a blast driving this. It felt like my kid days, my Tamiya days. This thing wheelies all the time. It's like your Midnight Pumpkin or your Lunchbox. And, you know, same kind of motor that's in it, but way, way more durable. And, I mean, the design of this thing is really remarkable. It's so comical. But if you see this chassis here, and the way this thing is designed, it's way more durable than a Tamiya kit. I'm not down in Tamiya. I mean, they're my youth, but this was a blast to drive. And Sen, you know, you got good part support there. So, and now let's get into that. So, say you're a guy that wants to get into the hobby, and the big thing that crosses your mind, and which should cross everybody's mind, is when you go with a Banggood car, a China car, AliExpress, something like that. The part support, it is there. They are getting better. It will take longer to get. You're not going to be able to talk to somebody like on the phone to get a real verbal, you know, personal experience and maybe discuss an issue you may have with your car that you need fixing. You got to do your homework yourself. Thankfully, you got YouTube, and you can watch a lot of how-to videos to show you what you can do to fix these cars and what parts to order. Always read the comments in the comments section below the videos, because there's a lot of great insight even with that. So, you know, that's another plus today. So yeah, The China stuff, part support's not going to be there. And a lot of these companies, some of them I've never even heard of. And a lot of them are clones upon clones upon clones. And so you might have a no-name brand that might have been cloned from, say, something like this, and you can't find the actual part for that brand car, so you'd have to go towards the clone car. So you just got to do your homework. And a lot of times these fly-by-night companies, they might be gone next year. So you just got to have that understanding. Again, I think the price reflects that. So to me, I kind of wanted to go middle of the road. I didn't want to go so big ARRMA yet, which eventually I got into, of course, and I'll get into that in a second. So I went kind of middle of the road. I didn't want to go too cheap. So I picked the Redcat Landslide and the DHK Maximus as my first beginner trucks, because I used to love monster trucks when I was a kid. So, and they are still good brands. I actually bought back the Landslide. I sold it and I bought another one just because I think it's a sleeper hit car. So you have here a Team Associated Rival. Team Associated has been around for many, many years. A lot of part support there. You know, if something breaks on the car, you can definitely find the part, get it fixed, walk into your local hobby shop and probably get the part. And if they don't have it in stock, they can most likely find it or order it for you. Now, here's the thing. This Team Associated Rival is a 1/10 scale monster truck, 4-wheel drive, very high regarded truck, well rated, does not come with batteries, does not come with a charger. It does come with a controller. You just got to supply your batteries and you're off and running. Now you got a Redcat Landslide here, a bit bigger. They call it 1/8 scale. It's more like a 1/9 scale, but it is bigger if I put the two together. So this is the issue that goes on. I mean, it's been going on for years, but you can see it today with the internet. The Redcat Landslide is also $300. And the Redcat Landslide has a nice metal chassis. Okay, they got steel drive shafts in here. Okay, the tires are really aggressive on the Landslide. I love the way these tires feel. They grip. They're much larger than the Rival. These tires, to me, they're okay. Nothing like these. It's pretty much a plastic car, plastic tub, plastic A-arms, plastic drive shafts and such. You know, there's not much metal on this car, and yet you're paying for the name. So that's another thing you have to look out for. Redcat's in there. Their name is up there. It's definitely within the hobby talk today. They're gaining some ground. They might have had a couple stinkers in the past, but they're doing better. And their cars are affordable, but they are a step up from the China stuff, so they'll be a little more expensive. But in the end, they do have a pretty nice, solid line of cars out today. So I don't put anything past Redcat. They're getting up there. So, and you're going to be paying much less for a Redcat than you would say an ARRMA. So now I have the ARRMA Felony here. I bought this back. I did sell it as a package deal a couple months ago, and I definitely regretted it because the ARRMA, the build quality on the ARRMA stuff, the TRAXXAS stuff, Losi, superior. You know, much, much, much better than what you get on a China car. And you know, there's a car coming out by ZD Racing that's on Banggood right now that's mimicking the Hoonigan or the Felony. It's their answer to the Felony. And I have not had a good experience with ZD. Every time I've gotten something from them, it has a brake problem after 1 or 2 times of driving it. And I did order this new car, the ZD Racing EX07. Saw a couple videos online of first runs with this car. Did not like what I was seeing. Catching fire, poor servo, poor batteries. I didn't feel confident with it at all. So I actually canceled my pre-order and I went back to the Felony because this is a true company. This is a company that's been around for a little over 10 years now. They have gained such ground in the past 10 years and their build quality is amazing. ARRMA tough, and it's totally true. And what's nice is they listen to their audience, they listen to their customer base, and they approve upon that each year. You're not really going to get that too much with the cheaper cars. So you want a name brand, you want to walk into your local hobby shop and pick up a part, you can. So I bought these 2 trucks from my local guy, and I'm out to support the local hobby because I think they're dying. They're a dying breed. The internet has been taking them over. So I try to support them as much as I can, and sometimes they can help you out. Maybe they can give you a discount if you keep supporting them. So I even like to support my guy on this channel, and it's Cruising RCs in Hohokus, New Jersey. He's been around for a long time, and he's a great guy to communicate with. I can pick up the phone and talk to him, and that's the brilliance of it, right? So, ARRMA, TRAXXAS, big names, support's there. That's the difference. So if you have the money, I always say, okay, you don't have to go big, crazy money like this. This is the Creighton EXB, or if you got the V1 or V2 Creighton 8S, or even the Outcast 8S, you're talking $1,000, even with, say, the TRAXXAS X Max. $1,000, it's a lot of money to put out in the very beginning. I was nowhere near that. I was nowhere near buying an ARRMA 6S Creighton because it was over $500 when I first got back into the hobby. I didn't want to spend that kind of money just yet because, again, it was getting into the realm of like, I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. So I went kind of middle of the road, like I said. But the great thing is God, the internet's there. You have all shapes and sizes of cars. The crawling scene is huge today. If you don't want to go super fast, you just want to crawl over rocks or sand dunes or something, go by the beach with your car without racing around and risking breaking the car. Understand, guys, your first time out, you're going to smack into something. I was a little nervous. I got my DHK Maximus out when I first ran it out here by my shop, and sure enough, I smacked into something and I bent an arm. It just happens. So you got to understand that they're going to break sooner or later. But if you did want to get back into your youth and go back to Tamiya like you see here, oh geez, guys, I mean, those kits are out there and they're in re-releases, so you can relive your youth. So I think a lot of people are rebuilding those things, and they're gaining some ground. I've had videos on this in regards to appreciation and value. Not many RCs can appreciate in value, but the Tamiya stuff does because it's vintage, it's collectible. So I know this is a mouthful, guys. I've been talking for a little while now, but I just kind of wanted to get this video out there because I have a lot of these cars up for sale. I try not to accumulate too much. I have a revolving door. I do have, companies that are sending me some of these cars to review. And I don't have any, big name brand cars coming to me yet, but I have some of these smaller ones. And so I just figured, let me put this video out. Let me talk about it, give you my experience, and just do your homework. The more homework you do, the better purchase you're going to make. And it all comes down to your preference, really. So hone up on the terminology, LiPo batteries, milliamp hours, discharge rate, KV in your motors, the size of your cans, that kind of thing. Just kind of hone up on that stuff so you're not left in the dark, and if somebody asks you a question, at least you know what you want to do or what you want. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. Basically comes down to your preference, your budget. If you don't want to break the bank, you don't think you're gonna stick with it, you just want to knock around with something, go with something cheap from Banggood, and you'll be fine. And again, it's not going to really hurt your bank for about $100. If you want something that's like a little more aggressive, and you want to rock around the backyard, show your kids, and then maybe get another one, maybe try going middle of the road. Get something that's got a little more of a following, a little more of a name to it. But beware of, again, the pricing of certain things. You can get as much enjoyment out of this, compared to, say, a Team Associated or an ARRMA. I mean, it's the same, as long as the enjoyment is there, you don't have to break the bank. So just do a lot of comparison and watch a lot of videos. Give yourself a month, give yourself a few weeks. There's no rush to this. There's always something new coming out. So do your homework and just watch a lot of YouTube videos like I do. And just, you learn a lot as time goes on. And you know what? If you make a mistake, all right. You live and learn, bite your lip, fix it up. You don't like the car, you sell it, you put it on Facebook Marketplace, eBay or something, and then you're out of the car. So, guys, I hope that was helpful for you. I have an array of vehicles here from cheap all the way up to expensive here, and, it can be daunting, but I think you'll be all right. Please be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And I keep bringing you RC content like this each and every week. If anybody wants to chime in here, anything that I missed, I'm sure I missed something, leave it in the comment section below. Again, I am a fun driver, casual driver. I am not a competitor by any means. I don't go to tracks. I don't race for trophies or anything like that. This is when I got free time on the weekends after work, and I knock around with these things. And just brings me back to a kid and puts a smile on my face. So, all right, guys, take care.